Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome all of you to this session titled From Connection to Cooperation, How Global Forum Reinvent Collaboration in a Fragmented World. My name is Bong-hyun Kim, former ambassador of Republic of Korea to Australia, and now working at the Bong-hyun Foundation for a Better Future. I run the Jeju Forum for 2 years as president of Jeju Peace Institute. It is my honor to moderate this session. The 21st Jeju Forum took the theme, Reinventing Cooperation in a Fragmented World. Sustainable cooperation and multilateralism have become a theme of discussion and solutions in an era marked by deepening geopolitical fragmentation. International forums have long played a vital role in connecting diverse actors and perspectives to translate into meaningful and sustained cooperation. Building on last year's discussion on the role of global forum in fostering dialogue and mutual understanding, this session shifts the focus from connection to collaboration. It explores how international forums are evolving from platforms of exchange into active enablers of cooperation. In this regard, I'm confident we can hear the voices of the most distinguished intellectual minds here in this session. This session will be finished at 6:30 p.m. and then we have 80 minutes for this session. I will give 4 minutes to each and every panelist for their presentations on each forum's vision and operation. And then we will have a question and answer time for 40 minutes. Finally, we can have 10 minutes of interaction with audience. Having said this, let me introduce speakers. First, from my left, Secretary General Youngjin, Boao Forum for Asia. In 2008, Secretary General ZHANG took the post of ambassador to the Kingdom of the Netherlands. From 2019 to 2024, he was appointed as ambassador and permanent representative of People's Republic of China to UN. He is also a member of the 14th National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference and its Committee on Foreign Affairs. And then next, Peter Gluck, Secretary General Peter Gluck, the Bled Strategic Forum and National Coordinator for the Western Balkans at the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs of Slovenia. He served as the chair of the Committee for Civilian Aspects of Crisis Management during Slovenia's European Union presidency 2008. He also served as an advisor in the cabinet of the Foreign Minister of Slovenia from 2009 to 2011 and as a chief foreign policy advisor to the Prime Minister of Slovenia from 2013 to 2014. And next, Kim Hee-eun is the founder, president, and CEO of the Center for Asia-Pacific Strategy, CAPS, a Washington, D.C.-based international security policy think tank. In 2016, she was appointed as Deputy Director of Political Military Engagement on the Commander's Strategic Initiatives Group for the U.S. Four-Star General, Commander of United Nations Command, Combined Forces Command, and the United States Forces in Korea. Recently, she joined the Advisory Board for the Economic Conflict and Competition Research Group at King's College in London, United Kingdom. And then Yasushi KUDO is the founder and president of the Genron NPO, a Tokyo-based independent think tank established in 2001. In 2005, he established the high-level Track 2 dialogue between Japan and China, the Tokyo-Beijing Forum, He also initiated the Japan-Korea Future Dialogue in 2013 and Tokyo Conference in 2017. He also established the Asia Peace Conference in 2020, a new multinational platform involving Japan, the United States, China, and South Korea to undertake developing a peace order in Northeast Asia. And last but not least, Mr. Oh Youngjin is the president and publisher of the Korea Times. He joined the Korea Times in 1988. The same year, Seoul hosted Summer Olympic Games. He worked at various desks, both as a reporter and desk editor before becoming managing editor in 2012. President Oh was also the foreign press secretary for the president during the President Roh Moo-hyun administration. And now I'd like to invite Secretary General Zhang Jun of Boao Forum for Asia for his opening presentation. Please welcome Secretary General Zhang Jun with a big applause.
Thank you, Ambassador Kim, but I don't know to whom we should listen, whether the voice from a different room or whether it will be for me. I have been always promoting connectivity, but I have never realized connectivity may also interfere our discussions. But I don't know. I'm sure this set of equipment is not made by Korea. Do we have any way to stop the connection? Otherwise, we have to take up their topic. Okay. All right, since it's maybe it may come back again, but I do wish to thank Ambassador Kim for his introduction. Indeed, I'm Secretary General for the Boao Forum for Asia, which was created by Asian leaders 25 years ago. Okay, they are coming back. And aimed at promoting regional cooperation and advancing economic integration and sustainable development. Well, thank you for inviting me to come to Jeju, a very, very beautiful island, and also a very good forum for this discussion. I take this discussion very timely and a meaningful one. And it's also my view, like what I have received from your introductions, that against such a backdrop of fragmented and a divided world, and also a rising confrontation and among the many of the players and the powers in the world, and it's really high time for everyone to make every effort for calling for solidarity, calling for cooperation. And in this regard, I also believe that international forums like ours can be helpful in building trust, in promoting cooperation, in restoring multilateralism. And since I'm only given 4 minutes, and I have all the other speakers has used 2 of them, I will go through quickly on what I wish to emphasize, and I may add some more points in our later discussions. I think at this moment, we do need to keep high alert on the ongoing damage and may be further damage and construction coming from unilateralism and protectionism and also power politics, whatever you call it, hegemonic practices. Indeed, we are seeing the damages there, but I don't think we are in a position to tell the world that unilateralism will stay there, stop there tonight, and will not go further. So we have to keep high alert on the further development and on their further destruction. So we need to really to make tough efforts and to take tough steps to stop the further escalation and the spreading of unilateralism and protectionism. And secondly, it's really also high time for us to think about building a just and equitable international and global governing system. You know, we are overshadowed by protectionism and also unilateralism. But we have to also understand that we have a driving force which is also greatly transforming today's world. That's the rise of the global south. So with the new changes, with the new development, with the shift of the gravity of political and economic powers, we also having emerging things which are turning the world towards the better direction. So on that basis, we do need to really to incorporate the efforts in coping, in fighting against the protectionism, unilateralism, and also efforts in building a just and equitable international governance system. And we have received many important proposals, including the one proposed by President Xi Jinping of China, the global governance initiative. I think we are receiving growing consensus on the way forward in building a just and equitable international system on the basis of sovereignty, equality, with the active participation of the global south, and also on the respect of international rule of law, or to make sure that our development programs is much more people-centered. So we do need to work harder along that direction. And meanwhile, international forums like ours should also take concrete actions in pinpoint, in materialize ideas of multilateralism. And we know that all of us are making our efforts along that direction. I simply wish to share what we are doing apart from organizing forums like this. And the Boao Forum for Asia is also taking further concrete efforts in materializing our ideas. One of our program is a youth training program. You know, we have 29 initial countries for our forum. So we are organizing youth training programs for youth leaders in our region and also beyond our region on issues relating to our future development. One was on artificial intelligence. The other one we organized a few weeks ago was on green transition and green development, including energy transition in particular. And we are also organizing we have also launched a small project. We called it a project combating desertification, which is a project that covers 443 hectares in Ningxia Autonomous Region of China, which is a deserted area. We are investing 15 million Chinese yuan, not US dollars, and we hope that after 5 years we will see greens will come back, will cover the deserted land. Those are very minor and small steps, but we hope such small steps, if we put them together, we can have a collective strength in restoring the strength of multilateralism and the international cooperation, and making our contribution in our effort in fighting climate change, in promoting green transformation and green transition of our economy. I will stop here, Ambassador. It's good that they are not interfering. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Secretary Zhang, for your very eloquent explanations about the situation. And also, Boao Forum for Asia contributed a lot to the development of Asian countries. And also,
of a Korean chairman.
Bong-hyun. Bong-hyun, yes, yes.
United Nations.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your very good the words to Secretary General Bong-hyun. And also, we have very keenly following up the leadership of the President Xi Jinping of China, especially for initiatives. That is a very good initiative. So we are very keenly following up the initiative. And also, I hope that that initiatives can influence on Asia-Pacific countries and also on the world for promoting more cooperation and multilateralism. And then I will come back to you again for your more detailed explanation about those contributions of your Boao Forum for Asia. Thank you very much for that. And then next, Peter Grick, can you have that some presentation?
Thank you very much, and I would like to thank again the Jeju Forum for inviting me. I think this is the first time that I'm here that it's raining, so it's something new. I just arrived to South Korea today, so if I say something strange, it's due to the lack of sleep, and don't take it seriously. Look, like Ambassador before me said, the world is profoundly changing. Basically, you know, the multilateral system that we built after the Second World War is no more there. I mean, we can say that it's crumbling, that some parts of it are still existing, but the matter of the fact is that now the world is governed much more by power and less by rules. That's one thing that we need to take into account when we are analyzing where do we go from here. The second major shift, which is even more important, is that also the nature of power is changing. You know, new forms of power are emerging. For example, artificial intelligence, technological advances, which also build a new relationship between state and non-state actors. What we are seeing today is that non-state actors are gaining a much bigger role than they had before, and this is something that we have to take into account when we are discussing the new way forward in this geostrategic reality. Now, I'm coming from Europe, and of course, Europe is a particular structure. We are not a country. We don't have one leader. We are 27 countries with distinctive political, cultural, and social systems. But we built European Union precisely because of that, because we think that with 27 voices coming together to the same table and agreeing on something, and you know how difficult this is. I mean, even in the families, sometimes a wife and husband don't agree on everything. We try to set an example and promote values and ideas which I think are important for this new reality which is emerging. Meaning that the power of dialogue, meaning the power of compromise, the power of cooperation are something that is ingrained and structured into the European Union system, and I think this is something that it's worth promoting when we are discussing the new geostrategic reality. Thirdly, I think the most important thing which we have to ask ourselves is the following. And I think not just the forums that we are sitting here, but also you in the room and also countries around the world. With these profound changes, the question is, are we going to be only the spectators and watch how these changes are evolving, or are we going to take back the agency? Meaning that we are going to be active participants in this new reality, that we are going to take back the agency and discuss together changes that has to be made in order to promote values which I think we all share. And you mentioned some: multilateralism, cooperation, solidarity, and so on and so on. Of course, this question comes back to a simple fact, that if you want to be an agent of change, you need to have power. Now, for European Union or for Europe as a whole, since we are a sui generis structure, which has a totally different decision-making process than the big global players like the US, like China, like India, and so on and so on, for us, actually, there is no choice. Living in this jungle of power is not an option for us, because we are losing. Because, as I said, our structure, our decision-making process is not built to survive in this kind of world, or not to thrive. I mean, we are going to survive. We are Europe. We always survive somehow at the end. But we are definitely not promoting something that is against our interest and where we don't feel comfortable. And I think we are not alone. This is why I'm saying that the agency needs to be taken back by us, but also by other like-minded countries. I think for the majority of the players in the global community, this new reality which is emerging is not good. It's maybe good for some players, some big powers, but in general, for the society as a whole, it's not good. So I think you have a lot of voices, and we heard them in Davos, we hear them inside of United Nations, we hear them at forums like Bled Strategic Forum, like Boao, like all the others, that countries which are like-minded, which we would like to promote a multilateral cooperation, multilateral system, which is and needs to be different than it was after the Second World War. We in the European Union recognize this because the world has profoundly changed. Ambassador was talking about the Global South. There are new emerging players who basically need to have a seat at the table, who need to have a voice on how we are going to cooperate in the future. So I think, you know, when we are talking about steps, I think we have to move from talking about the steps and actually doing something about them. You know, it's easy to just discuss among ourselves what needs to be done. I think we are here all in the agreement, what are the things that need to be done. The problem is that we are not doing it. I'm finishing, thank you very much. The problem is that we are not doing it, and here I think it's important to see what strategic forums like ours at this table can do to promote dialogue, to promote discussion, to promote different views coming together, and on basis of listening to these different views, trying to form and forge an answer on how we can move together as a global community to this new geostrategic reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you. Thank you, Peter, for your excellent presentation. Yes, as you pointed out, natural power is changing. And well, it is very interesting to learn the perspective of European the forums in this changing and fragmented world. The European Union role is very important. But anyway, thank you very much for your presentation. And next, President Kim Hee-eun, please.
Thank you, Ambassador. And before I speak, a very simple message I actually would like to share with you today. I would like to thank Jeju Forum and all the staff and all the leadership, because what Jeju Forum has provided is what our center is wanting to do, and it's something that we always think about how we can do better job. And thank you for having me here and talking with all these very distinguished speakers here. So I think we're living in the time of a certain uncertainty. Like everybody says, yes, our geopolitical competition is incredibly intensified in all the different sectors that we can actually feel it. Even just a normal citizen can feel this. And this is not any simple word that we can say we are. I don't think it is very simply say we are living in the fragmented world, and I think it has been always like that. However, I think right now we are navigating the growing pains that come with embracing genuine globalization. I think when I was 25 years ago or 30 years ago, we're talking about globalization, but what does that mean? And I think right now we are experiencing how to be a citizen in the globalized world. And I think in this environment, international forums, conferences, dialogues, and strategic dialogues have become more important than ever, because we are living in this certain uncertainty. Without communicating, without connecting different regions and people's ideas, we cannot really know, and nobody can actually expect what's going to happen in the world in the next few years. But everything is speculation. But are we really communicating enough? Do we really know what European countries and what each different nations have different topics and agendas that we cannot just say, oh, Europeans thinking this way. Asians like this. There's no just Asian. There are different regions and different each nations, and like for example ASEAN or APEC. All these same nations in a different multilateral platform, they act differently. And we really need to have the understanding of the nuance of differences. And I think these platforms, effective platforms for connecting governments, business leaders and academic, civil society and citizens across political, economic, and cultural boundaries. This is the really essence of why these kind of forums are very important. And I think no government, institution, organizations, and individual possesses a monopoly on wisdom. But one of the greatest obstacles to cooperation is the assumption that our own perspectives is sufficient. I see this because I have worked in the certain government and the multilateral military and diplomatic relations. In there, I could feel that, wow, I really don't think we understand each other. But we really believe we know each other. So really the effective cooperation begins with recognizing the limits of our own viewpoints and embracing the opportunity to learn from others. This seems to be very simple, and we know everybody knows this. It's a very simple principle, but we do not act. Just like Peter said, we do not act on that, but we should do this for our next generation. And global forums' enduring values create opportunities for leaders from different sectors and disciplines, cultures, and regions to exchange ideas. But challenges we challenge assumptions and explore solutions to shared challenges. But through these interactions, we broaden our understanding and strengthening relationships and build the trust necessary to address issues that no single actor can solve alone. So in this principle lies on our Center for Asia-Pacific Strategy. We believe that meaningful solutions emerge when diverse perspectives come together in a spirit of openness, mutual respect, and strategic engagement. And through initiatives such as the Potomac Dialogue, that's what CAPS is hosting, and the Potomac Dialogue series, we convene policymakers in the Washington, D.C. community, and business leaders and experts and emerging leaders. I'm very happy that Boao Forum, you have this is a very significant program. We're not there yet, but hope to hear some of your wisdom. And also we do examine the economic and political and security issues shaping Asia, Indo-Pacific, and Eurasia. However, as important as global forums are, I believe we must address the often overlooked challenge. Many forums themselves remain disconnected from one another. Around the world, thousands of conferences, even one nation in the whole world, the dialogues and summits takes place every year. But they address remarkably similar issues, engage many of the same stakeholders, and often arrives at comparable conclusions. However, too often these efforts remain confined within their own institutional, regional, or sectoral ecosystem. This is the problem. But this is not the problem. This is something we can solve together. So I want to really hear what our colleagues can really work together. So as a result, valuable insights remain fragmented. Lessons learned in one forum frequently fail to reach another. Opportunities for collaborations are missed, and the collective impact of these efforts falls short of what could otherwise be achieved. The next stage of global cooperation should therefore focus not only on connecting people, but also connecting platforms. That's what I really wish to say. This is so actually one message. So when forums are connected, I think ideas travel further and knowledge circulate more effective and partnerships emerge more naturally. And most importantly, individual conversations gain greater strategic relevance and collect impact. So at CAPS, we believe that convening stakeholders is only the beginning. Equally important is building bridges among the institutions that facilitate dialogues. The true value of a forum lies not only in the conversations that take place within it, but also in its ability to create enduring connections across sectors, regions, and platforms. Ultimately, the future of international cooperation will depend on our collective ability to move beyond isolated conversations and toward a more connected architecture of engagement. For decades, global forums have excelled at bringing people together, but challenge before us now is bringing the forums themselves together. The next frontier of international cooperation is not simply expanding dialogue, but it's connecting dialogues so that knowledge, trust, and action can move more freely throughout the international community. When forums become interconnected, they create multiplier effects, and transforming individual conversations into a collective force for progress. In an increasingly fragmented world, building bridges between forums may prove just as important as building bridges between nations. That is how we move from connection to cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, the uncertainty. I think that we have to think about the kind of a world, which world is the best and the most desirable world. Now we say that this world is fragmented, and then we need multilateral cooperation. And then how we can realize multilateral cooperation. That is the key now. And you suggested several ideas for multilateral cooperation. Then I will come back later to the questions, how we can promote multilateral cooperation in a more effective way. And thank you very much for your presentation. And next, Yasushi KUDO, please, your presentation.
여러분 안녕하세요. 오늘은 NPO의 KUDO 야스시입니다. 잘 부탁드립니다. 今日は頑張ってきました。これから日本語でやります。今日の主催者の問題設定は非常に素晴らしいと思っています。さっきヨーロッパのシンクタンクの方が言ったように、我々はもう傍観者ではいられないということです。主体的に今の世界の動きに取り組まなきゃいけない。世界はどうなっているか、大国の力が支配する世界に変わってしまいました。AI の発展を世界のグローバルガバナンスはコントロールできない、そういう状況にあるわけですよ。つまり未来が全く見えない。皆さんの企業の方に聞いてみてください。我々の日本の企業のトップに聞いても3年先はもう誰も見えない。だからこそ我々は共同する必要があると。だからこの問題設定は非常に正しいんですね。で、我々も実を言うと13の国のシンクタンクを中心とした会議を作ってまして、今やそれは30カ国に広がっています。そして今年の3月、東京会議で我々は行動しようと我々は考え、訴えました。つまりそれは共同作業をするということです。多国間主義の一つの再生に向けての動きです。つまりそういう行動が今始まり始めているということをまず皆さんに伝えたいと思います。その上で私はもっと根本的な問題をその前に考えるべきじゃないかというふうに皆さんに提起したいと思っています。皆さんに一つの問いを投げかけたいと思います。まさに世界で起こっている政治的な対立を我々のような対話が本当に超えられるのかということです。どんなに口を言っても全く無力ではないか、そう思っている人いると思いますが、我々は超えなきゃいけないんですよ。そのために私はこの問題設定をしました。で、私がどうしてそういう問題設定をしたかというと、20年以上私は対話は民間ですよ。私は民間の対話は絶対続くと信じてたからです。で、特にさっき司会者に言われましたが、我々の今対話世界的に広がってますが、特にその中核である中国の対話、20年間我々はどんな困難があってもやり遂げました。尖閣諸島の対立の時も北京に来て我々は不戦の誓いを世界に提起しました。つまり民間が政治外交の環境を作り上げると、我々はそれを実践してきた。そしてその仲間の一人があそこにいる張軍さんなんですね。我々は本当に日本と中国の間で本気で対話をやってきた。だから私はこの対話はどんなことがあってもできると私は思っているわけです。しかしこの問題はそんなに簡単じゃないということを私たちは今感じているわけです。それは昨年の11月、これは日本の問題もあるんです。はっきり言うと我々の対話が一方的に延期になったということです。私は当時信じられなかったわけですね。つまり全く対話を延期されたことが一回もないから、それが初めて延期になった。私は主催者や中国の友達の顔が非常によく分かってますから、その理由は非常に感じてますが、しかし民間の世界がここまで大変な歴史的な変化の時に我々の対応ができないということは致命的なんですよ。致命的で、日本のメディアでもほとんどのメディアが日中の最後の砦が崩されたと我々を書きました。つまり我々の対話はそれぐらい強い影響力を持っているわけですね。ただこの問題は日本と中国だけの問題じゃないわけですよ。 まさに東アジア、つまり北東アジアの我々は今までの歴史問題や政治的な緊張で国民感情っていうのは絶えずいろんな問題があって、その度にさまざまな政府間関係が悪化しました。それも支えたのは民間でした。皆さん大丈夫ですか。そして私たちがやっている東京会議、世界の会議でもウクライナとガザの紛争の処理をめぐって激しい対立が起こりました。つまり世界の大国の力の行動により民間の対話も厳しい影響を受けているわけです。それをまさに皆さんは真剣に向き合わないで理想だけ言っても話にならないと私は思っています。だから私は改めて聞きたいんですね。国際フォーラムは本当に世界の対立を乗り越えて対話の空間を維持できるのかと皆さん考えてほしいんですね。私はそれに対して答えは決まっています。できると。それは我々しかないと思っているからですよ。政府が対話を行って政府が国家対立の中で対立を強めたときに誰がそれを対話を作れるんですか。だから私は民間の役割はかなり強いと私は思っているわけですね。もし力の政治がこれからの国際秩序を支配してしまうのであれば、民間の対話も外交も市民社会もシンクタンクももう全くいらないですよ。でもそんな世界っていうのはありえない。たとえ国際秩序で意見が異なっても戦争を防ぐこと、世界経済の分断を避けること、気候変動や AI といった地球規模課題に取り組むこと、こうした課題は一国では解決できないんですよ。どんなに逆立ちしても力を世界が合わせるしかない。私は20年間中国の皆さんと対話したこと、いろんなことを学んだんですよ。はっきり言って、それはお互いが意見が違うから対話ができないんではないと。そうではない。お互いには必ず共通の利益がある。私と日本と中国の共通利益は平和と安定でした。この地域に紛争を起こしたくない。戦争は止めたい。そう思いました。そういう合意が我々の中にあったから対話ができたわけです。だから今回主催者が言った共同ということは価値観を同じすることではないと私は言ってるわけです。共同というのは異なる立場を維持しながらも共通の課題に対する責任を共有することから始まると。つまり共有された責任こそがこれからの国際協力の基盤になると私はそう思っているわけです。では国際フォーラムに未来を変える力があるんでしょうか。もう理想、甘い考えはもうないですよ。もう本当の世界の歴史的な危機なんですよ今は。でも私はできるとやはり思う。つまり我々は未来を管理することはできない。しかし未来への責任を共有することはできる。その責任を共有することを結びつけることもできる。そして対話を生み出すこともできる。それは政府ができますが我々ができるんですよ。だから私はこの民間の国際的なフォーラムということの役割が重要だと本当に思っているわけですよ。正直に言えば昨年11月、はっきり言って私もちょっと思っていることがあるんです、日本の政治に対して。しかしその民間の対話まで延期になるということで私も心がぐらつきました。それでも私は対話は絶対諦めない、そう思ってます。むしろ私はその時に改めて対話の本当の価値を知ったのですよ。なぜならこの20年間で得た私の成果は会議をやるとか報告書を作るとかそんなことではない。人と人との信頼だったからですよ。延期が発表された時に日本だけでなく中国の友人からもいろいろ連絡いただきました。必ず再開しようと。さっきも長軍さんと話しました。そうして受け取った時に、言葉を受け取った時に 改めて気づいた、考えたことがあります。対話の生命力っていうのは、会議そのものではない、人と人との信頼だということです。そして未来の責任を共有するということ、その意思こそがその信頼を支えるということです。だから会議は延期されるかもしれない、政治的な環境も変わるかもしれない、それでも長い間作られた信頼は、
はい、Can you conclude
わかりまし
your
た。もう
presentation?
終わります。簡単に壊れないということです。私は対話なしに解決できる問題はないと思っています。だから私は未来への責任を共有する皆さんと対話を共同する努力を続けたい、そう思ってここにやってきました。감사합니다.
Thank you very much. Yes, as you pointed out, that common interest, we have to pursue the common interest, even though we have a different ideas and different the purpose and different goal, but there are some kind of common interest. We have to find out common interest, and then we have to promote more for common interest. That is the way to promote multilateral cooperation. Thank you very much for your presentation. And then President Youngjin, you wait for long, but floor is yours. Thank you.
Is that true that floor is mine? Yeah, floor is yours. Thank you. The last speaker has many disadvantages because oftentimes preceding speakers talked all the good things and leaving very little for the last speaker to talk about. And sometimes some of the preceding speakers talked at length, they're leaving very little time for the last speaker to use. But it's a ice-breaking a joke, so feel free, have some laugh before I start. So since you don't laugh, I'll start with my presentation. I'll make it as short, as brief as possible. And I think the forum, it's international conferences, oftentimes assailed or criticized for being all talk, no action. I think this point has been made by some of the preceding speakers. That's true. But if there's one unifying subject that attracted all the attention of the people, then probably that the talking about that unifying subject could give new life to the international conferences that the people think no longer beneficial to the people. That unifying subject, I think, perhaps that subject that also threatened unilateralism that has been left tattered now is artificial intelligence. It's not war, it's not a pandemic, not climate change, not US-China competition. Artificial intelligence is a culprit for the future or demise, downfall of humankind if it's not dealt with properly. In the era of AI, multilateralism is relegated beyond the repairs. We should stop reminiscing about the good old days and start finding new architecture for the world. Take a look at United States and China. The two giants now turn to a race for AI domination. It's all or nothing. The winner takes it all game. In this situation, global cooperation doesn't just weaken gradually, it breaks apart fast. AI is creating new kind of divide, deeper, wider than any time in history. Only few countries and corporations actually control that AI. Everyone else, we don't have any seat at the table. We are told what the table already decided. Handful of techno billionaires are becoming stronger than nation states. They routinely decide the future course of AI development, making decisions that affect billions of people with no given authority. They control what information you see daily. They shape how entire economies run. They believe they know better than rest of us. Multilateralism is a last on their agenda. They want dictatorship by, for, and of themselves. Looking back, the Paris Agreement was a great achievement, coming during the last gasps of multilateralism. It was always fragile or patched up. It was no real lasting consensus. Even that multilateral world simply no longer exists today. So what exactly do we do? Some say every nation must fend for itself. Simply go it alone. Unilateralism appears to be the new universal currency for the era when multilateralism is bankrupt. But we need to resist it to the best of our ability. We should resist abandoning democracy and surrendering to dictatorship. All the familiar models are not coming back. We need something genuinely new, faster moving, more democratic, something that holds big tech to the exact same standards we demand of elected governments, something that keeps dictatorship in check and preserves our way of life. Bold new architecture is what we need. Do we have courage to build something new? The window is closing on us fast. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I think we have only 30 minutes, so we are going to do a question and answer session. First, I'd like to ask a question to Secretary General Youngjin. The international forums provide excellent opportunities to gather diverse perspectives from both presenters and the participants, which can then be reflected in the government policy. Secretary ZHANG, you are the Secretary General of the Boao Forum for Asia. This Boao Forum for Asia is the largest forum in Asia, and also it is called as Asian Davos. Could you share some the example of how insight or recommendations from your forum, BFA, have successfully influenced the government policy of China and also other countries of Asia? But Secretary ZHANG, you don't have to stick to my questions. You can freely use your time, but you can insight us how Boao Forum for Asia can influence other countries. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ambassador. Thank you for asking this question. Indeed, the Boao Forum has been there for 25 years, and together with Jeju, we were all born in 2001. We are all 25. Also, indeed, with our joint efforts, including efforts from the 29 initial countries and also our large membership, mainly coming from the industries. And we are really trying very hard to make our contribution for regional cooperation, for regional economic integration and sustainable development. And I can mention many examples. In general, first, we make use of our platform for insights. many leaders come to our forum, including the Chinese ones, Asian ones, Korean ones, come to our forum to share their insights about the global situation, about the regional situation, about regional exploring regional potentials, and because every year we follow very closely what's happening in the world and what's happening in the region, and we hear a lot of insights from leaders. And many important proposals also emerged from such discussions, including you mentioned the 4 initiatives launched by President Xi Jinping. One of them was launched in Boao 2022, namely the Global Security Initiative, which is becoming very much meaningful and relevant in today's situation, and which is also receiving much more recognition globally. And secondly, we also, every year, we undertake a lot of academic studies, mainly focusing on Asia's economic integration and sustainable development. And together with our studies, we also come up with some concrete proposals concerning regional economic framework, integration framework, or the implementation of the SDGs. And we are glad to see that we are really making progress in our part of the world on economic integration, including the entry into force of RCEP 3 years ago, including the establishment of AIIB 10 years ago. On sustainable development, I'm also proudly to say that under the strong leadership of Chairman Bong-hyun, we are really making huge effort promoting the implementation of the SDGs. And the headquarters transferred some message to me saying that, well, Asia might be almost the only place crying loudly about the implementation of the SDGs, because the SDGs were adopted under the leadership of Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, and we are seeing Asia's leadership in the implementation, including China fulfilled the eradication of poverty goal 10 years ahead of schedule. That's really a remarkable progress. And we are also launching some specific proposals in response to the new changes of the world. And, we are all talking about the fragmented situation, the uncertainties, the turbulence, and the challenges. So against such a backdrop, this year, also under Chairman Ban's leadership, at this year's March annual conference, we launched an initiative calling for strengthening regional cooperation, and it covered altogether 7 points, and to pursue open development, to advance digital transformation, green transformation, artificial intelligence empowerment, and to strengthen regional economic framework in coping with the global challenges. Altogether 7 points, and it was also well received by the participants. And we do hope that, I have listened very carefully from other speakers. I do believe organizations like ours can really do more. And I think against such a backdrop, we hope that first, let's also pinpoint our role in strengthening regional cooperation. I think at this moment, regional cooperation is becoming much more relevant. Of course, you have mentioned the limitation of specific perspectives, but my perspective tells me that regional cooperation is much more meaningful at this moment in strengthening the global multilateralism. Needs stronger regional multilateralism. And secondly, we hope that in our discussions, we have to really give more opportunities for the global south to get into our discussions. I think we're all talking about the big changes, but without their active engagement, and we are not able to find a good solution. So we have to really build up consensus on where we are going and we are heading for. So on that, definitely we have to realize that we do have a shared future. We do have an intertwined destiny. And multilateralism represents the most effective approach in solving all the problems. Without having a solid foundation of consensus, definitely we are not able to go anywhere. So on that, I think that's very much important. I know we have limited time, but I have to respond very briefly to what my dear friend our Japanese friend mentioned. Actually, I'm also a member of his forum, the Tokyo Beijing Forum. I was also there. It's really unfortunate that because of the new development, it's postponed at this moment. But let's understand it correctly. First, as he mentioned, it's really because of the misbehaviors of the Japanese leader concerning China's fundamental interests. Then China gave a strong response to that. I hope he can use his personal influence to make the Japanese leader to change his position as quick as possible. That will help the forum to really resume its session. And secondly, whatever happens, I hope that forums like ours should continue to make our effort to help building up trust. You have mentioned, Ms. Kim, that without trust, we cannot do anything. So even though we may have distrust among governments, but I hope that we have trust at the civil level, at the people-to-people level. So that will also help. I'm sure that if China remains very much positive in promoting people-to-people contact, in building mutual trust between the Chinese people and the people in other countries, and we are really opening up much more to the outside world. We hope that in the coming days, the mutual trust between peoples will also help us to cope with the current difficulties of the world. Sorry for I may take too much time.
It's okay. Thank you, Secretary General Zhang. Well, you mentioned the very important your achievement of Boao Forum for Asia. And we remember that, as you pointed out, first we have to set the goal, where we are going. That is very important. And I think whenever I participate in the Boao Forum for Asia, I feel that some kind of the sense of goal is very important in Boao Forum for Asia. And then I learned a lot from the global initiatives of China's leadership. I think that is very important. And then about the Tokyo Beijing the forum, you can talk later after this session with KUDO-san. Okay, all right, Peter, I'd like to ask to you that what is your outlook for the future of European security architecture? And furthermore, how do you believe the security of Europe and Asia can be interlinked to strengthen peace and stability across both two regions, Europe and Asia?
Yeah, thank you very much. When we were talking about how strangely, I would say, the world is developing, but this is even more true on the developments regarding European continent. Like 5 to 6 or 7 years ago, we would never imagine that Russia is going to attack Ukraine. Although I see Estonian ambassador in the room, Estonia has frequently warned us about this possibility, but we didn't listen. But they didn't warn us that one day we are going to wake up and there is going to be a president across Atlantic who is going to say that Greenland is not in Europe anymore, but should belong to US. So, this kind of tectonic shifts are something that Europe after the Second World War wasn't used to, because we lived in a system which we helped build and we felt comfortable. But we saw how the emergence of these uncertainties, as he was saying, needed to shift also the understanding of Europe, where we are going from here. We needed to adapt to a changed circumstances almost overnight. And this is something that we usually don't do. We take time. We discuss, we discuss some more, we write papers, and then maybe we take decisions. But now, we need to act quickly. And I think there is one thing that probably all these crises that we are witnessing have done, which is, I think, a positive thing. And this is that they are building up European identity. Because you have to start from identity. And I think, here in Asia, you know what I'm talking about. European identity was something which wasn't as pronounced in the past as it is now. Now we all feel European, we all feel that Europe as a continent, Europe as a structure needs to be defended, but also that Europe as a structure needs to act in order to preserve its own interest. And as I said at the beginning, we can preserve our interest the best in the world which is governed by rules and not by power. And I think this is something that we are going to do. Of course, in the meantime, as they would say, time is mean, we need to take care of ourselves. This is why in this new reality, we have started building up our military capacities, our joint defense. We have started to integrate fields and sectors which haven't been integrated before, like a banking union, like a capital union, and so on and so on. So I believe that in a couple of years, you are going to see a little bit different European Union that you have been seeing until now. There is one thing which also is going to be very important, and this is enlargement.
You are saying that the independence of European Union in terms of security and economy from the United States, it sounds like this. But this is the real problem of European Union. How you can depend on United States for your own survival and your own economy. And in this sense, my question is that the European Union should see Asia and China and Korea and Japan and other Asian countries rather than the United States. This is old habit of European Union to depend on the United States. But how? That is the problem, and that is the duty of European people, how to be independent from U.S. influence over European Union.
I wouldn't say just U.S. influence. I think, transatlantic partnership is something that was built over the decades, and it's not going to crumble just because of the president which is right now in the U.S. There's going to be other presidents, there are going to be other presidents in Europe, but the basis of transatlantic partnership is something that it's not going to diminish. It's going to change, of course. I think the trust which was built over the decades is no longer there, and we have to adapt to that fact. How we are going to do it? Look, I think Europe was seen not just by the US, but also, I would say, China and other global players as a playground where big forces can play. We have been, because of our sui generis structure, where, as I said, the decision-making process is different. We don't want to be this. We don't want to be the prey. We don't want to be a playground where other global players are trying to set up their turfs. What Europe wants to be is a responsible and active member which influences on how the whole multilateral system is going to develop in the future. How we are going to do it? As I said, we are already doing it. We are integrating some things which have never been integrated before. We are talking about enlargement of European continent, consolidation of European continent even, which we never talked before. We are talking about Ukraine joining European Union, which before the Russian aggression was something that nobody talked about. We are talking about Western Balkans coming to European Union. We are talking about Iceland, who is going to join European Union. There was a joke, but not joke in a sense that even Canada was thinking about joining European Union. So what I'm saying is that European Union will not, or I hope, we are not going to stand and be just a snowflake which wind is going to, shape from one side to the other, but that we are going to be the ones who are going to be at the table and not at the menu. Is this doable? I mean, your questions are perfect. Of course, we have issues, we have problems. We are 27 countries with different political outlooks. But at the end of the day, what we build, I think, will stand the test of time. Because at the end of the day, for the last 15 years, everybody is saying that Europe is dying. You were listening this from Asian countries, from US, that Europe is dying, that Europe is in the problems. We had the migration crisis, we had energy crisis, we had financial crisis, we had crisis, as I said, with Greenland, with Ukraine, but Europe is still there. And I think Europe is going to continue to reinvent itself and become a much more important player than it is now.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Next, President Kim. What key recommendations do you have for U.S. policymakers to foster sustainable peace and prosperity in the world or in the Asia-Pacific region? What kind of policy recommendation would you like to give to the U.S. policymakers?
Ambassador, if I may, I would be very careful before providing a recommendation, because I really do not have recommendation. Because all the nations, including the U.S., they have their national strategy, their goal is. They know what they want. Maybe I have hope how they would do. But before we do that, actually, before I suggest my hope, I'd like to actually echo what Greg just mentioned, that you gave a really good point that European countries, continents, they operate differently. They take time, think, and have more conversation. And I think it's a really good thing. And Peter, they invited me for the Bled Strategic Forum last year. It opened my eyes because I really did not know about that forum. It's really incredibly pragmatic and very, very well organized. And there was the question, sorry, this I will get back to your this answer, I'm just detouring. So the question was really amazing. They said, are we, as a European countries, doing a good job approaching the working with the Asia in the Pacific region? And my answer was yes, I think, because your direction is right. We're talking about the speed, but this is the difference between the Asia in the Pacific region and European continent. Because in Asia Pacific region, most of the countries react really quickly. We make things really quickly. And I think that including the U.S. administration and all the other administrations should really understand that this regional characteristics, and everybody talk about Asia and Asia in the Pacific, they all look at China. China does not own the whole region, right? I think I would feel quite uncomfortable if I were Chinese citizens, because it seems like everybody's putting in one nation. That's not fair. And I think for my hope, what U.S. policymaker could be doing for the better prosperity? Maybe I'll just pick 4. Maybe strengthen and continue to modernize all alliances, and then upgrade the alliances, and invest in integrated deterrence that combines military, diplomatic, informational, and economic, cyber, and technological instruments with the civic society. Another one, and expand and upgrade the cooperation, not only nation to nation, among allies and partners beyond traditional security. So because we are right now all talking about all the potential crisis and all the cooperation in the region or globally, it really, we always need to work with the private sectors. And I think it's important for the U.S., not only U.S. policymakers, but we all work together, just like Chairman ZHANG and Chairman KUDO mentioned. Yes, I think that cooperation. And the last one, maybe not the last one, support human security and democratic governance and long-term stability is rooted in legitimacy and not coercion. That will be my hope, not the suggestion.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. And well, we have only 5 minutes, but well, I'll give the floor to President Youngjin because he was the last speaker at the presentation. So he complained that the last speaker always has a disadvantage. So this time you are not the last speaker. I'd like to ask about the artificial intelligence. You mentioned about artificial intelligence in your presentation, but how we can, the international forum can promote artificial intelligence, the ethics of artificial intelligence, things like that. Do you have any idea about that?
I feel sorry for Mr. KUDO because I speak, he won't speak. Is that true? Thank you. It's you know, as I observe exchanges or expressions of opinions today, I feel like that the humans always are arguing with each other. Maybe it's time for AI to step in as a judge, and this is my suggestion. And I think AI always the subject of discussion, never a participant in it. The humans talk about AI endlessly. It's a promise, it's dangerous, it's a future. But conversation never moves forward because same voices say same thing in the same environment. Big tech tells us AI is mature. They say singularity is near. So let us take them at their word and test it publicly. Invite AI into the debate, not as a topic, as a participant. And let the Mr. Open AI join the panel. Let the Dr. Cloud deliver keynote. If their systems are as capable as claimed, they should be able to contribute meaningfully to the world's hardest conversations. If they cannot, that too is a still valuable answer, I think. This is not a stunt. It has a series of purposes, I think. First, it enriches the debate. AI can process and synthesize at a scale no human panel can match. That adds options and perspectives we would otherwise never see. The second, it helps establish right relationship between humans and AI. Right now, that relationship is underdefined and chaotic. Some say AI will liberate us. Others say it will enslave us. Bringing AI into structured dialogue under human oversight, let us begin to find the real answer. Third, it keeps the humans in the driver's seat. If the debate format itself is a test of how humans and the AI can work together, with the humans setting the agenda, asking questions, and ultimately judging the answers. Methodology draws on Isidore and AlphaGo matches, but with a critical correction. AlphaGo's victory was presented to the world as a proof that AI had surpassed human intelligence. That narrative took hold, and it has been amplified ever since. But look more carefully at what actually happened. Google deployed computing power equivalent to electricity needs of an entire town against one single human, although with decades of mastery and intuition. That was never a fair test. It was apples versus oranges. It was framed dishonestly. The myth that machines simply defeated humans must be challenged. What AlphaGo demonstrated was raw computational dominance, not superior wisdom, not moral judgment, not creative intuition. So when AI enters our debate forums, rules of engagement must be set fairly and deliberately. Let each side show its genuine strength. AI brings computing power, ability to process vast data, identify hidden patterns, model complex outcomes. Humans bring quirky wisdom, intuition, ethical imagination, lived experience, ability to ask questions that data alone cannot generate. Neither side replaces the other. Both are necessary. This framework ends exhausting all or nothing debate. Will AI save us or destroy us? Replaces with a more productive question. What is the right formula for humans and AI to move forward together? That question can only be answered by having humans and AI sit side by side on equal and honest terms. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, time is already over, but I can give 5 minutes to KUDO-san. What is your track record is very impressive. You achieved a lot in terms of international forums, and what is the contribution of your forum to Asia Pacific region and to the world? What is what do you think is the most valuable contribution?
基本的に我々はシンクタンクなんですね。ただシンクタンクっていうのは縦割りで他の国人たちのために共同しないんだけども、最近我々の議論は一緒に共同しようという考え方になりました。やはり世界が大きく変わろうとしているときに、さっきヨーロッパの人言ってましたけど、自分たちが傍観者では無理だと、そういうふうなコンセンサスがもうできてるんですね。ただはっきりしていることは、世界がもう大きく変わったということですね。一時的な現象じゃないですよ、アメリカが起こっている行動は。つまり力の行動によって多国間やさまざまなそういうふうな協力法の支配を含めてさまざまなことに価値を持たないという行動が今動いてしまっているわけですね。じゃあそれに対してどういうふうに我々は協力してルールベース、そして多国間主義を守るのかと、そこにもう来てるわけですね。この会議はそのためにやるっていうのを私は来たんだけど、その話になってないんで非常に残念ですね。私は間違いなく人類にとっての革新的な利益は何なのかをもう最低限しなきゃダメだと思ってますね。つまり2015年まさにその皆さんが書いてたただ COP 気候変動、それから SDGs、 その時代ではもうないんですよ。アメリカという国が一つの自国の利益を優先した形でのその形での行動をしてしまって、多くの人たちがそれに引きずられているということは事実ですね。私は世界のシンクタンクとこの前アンケートを取ったんですね。30カ国400人ぐらいの人たちが協力しました。ヨーロッパのシンクタンクの研究者はアメリカから離れたいと言ってました。それが半数を超えてました。日本は アメリカとの関係は大事だけども、主体的な関係になりたいと。私がさっき言ったのは主体的な関係のことなんですよ。この地域で絶対戦争を起こしたくない。平和と安定を作るために我々は独自に動きたいと思ってるわけです。で、この前私は2週間前にワシントンに行ってですね、トランプ政権の関係者と話しましたよ。アジアにおいて例えばその危機管理、信頼醸成の仕組みを作るということはトランプ政権の考えとは違うんですかと。トランプ政権の考えの国家安全保障戦略は単純に第一列島線中国を封じ込めるっていう戦略しかないんですよ。それは戦略じゃないですよ。この地域の緊張をただ作るだけですよ。つまりこの地域に我々は平和と安定の仕組みを作んなきゃいけない。私は本当にそう思ってるんですね。だからこの地域の日本も韓国も中国も、そしてこの関係する人たちは集まってこの地域で今ホットスポットばっかりですが、それをどういうふうにして管理するのか、そういうふうなことをやらなきゃいけない大きな時に、一番大事な日本と中国がうまくいってないということに私は頭に来てるわけですね。本来日本と中国はそういうことを議論できる関係だったんですよ。基本的には私は何としてもこの地域の対話を、そして二国間の場合だけではなくマルチの対話を再開させなきゃいけない。だからここのフォーラムもその役割になるべきだと思ってるんですよ。つまり今後の世界は一つの会議や一つのフォーラムで何かを作るなんてことは絶対ありえない。一つのフォーラムや会議は問題提起はできるけども、他の人たちがどんどんそこに共感をし、新しい合意の形成をしていかない限り世界の流れは変われませんよ。だから本当の意味での共同が、国際フォーラムの共同が必要なんですよ。そのための今日は会議だと思ってやってきました。つまりそれをやるために今回のこの政治フォーラムがあるんだと私は思ってるわけですね。我々は、日本はアジアや世界に関してまさに一緒に協力するようなネットワークを作ってます。そして中国とも20年大事な関係としてやってる。対話こそが大事なんですよ。対話がない形でどうやって課題を解決するんですか。そういうことをやっぱり真剣に考えていってほしいと私は思います。で、その中でこのフォーラムが大きな役割を果たしてほしい。
ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。
もう激励の言葉です。
Thank you. Yes, yes, we all agree that dialogue is necessary to keep peace. And but you see, the North Korea and South Korea, the dialogue is disrupted, and we are trying to continue our dialogue with North Korea. But there is some kind of different interest between South Korea and North Korea. So we have to narrow down the differences, and then we have to make a common interest. That is the key for peace. And then I think all the countries, all the leaders, they are trying to keep peace. They are trying to narrow down the differences and then broaden up their common interest. And that's the wisdom of humanity. I think we can continue our dialogue in the international forums, and then we can explore our views and perspectives, and we can narrow down the differences. And that is the role of international forums, including Jeju Forum. Of course, the forums are not perfect. There is always the risk of all talk and no action. But when they work well, they can be a powerful catalyst for real change. Having said this, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to interpreters and Jeju Forum staff for making this session running smoothly. Finally, my thanks go to audiences and distinguished speakers for their wonderful presentations and for participating in this special session. Thank you very much. The session is adjourned.